Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice Adu. The news is also live on Kazmi 107.1 FM and across the world at 3news.com. On Facebook, we're streaming live on 3FM 927. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. National Tripartite Committee agrees a 10% increase in base pay for organized labor. We have details as President Mahama joins in on the negotiations. Also coming up, operations at metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies and several other public agencies grind to a halt as CLOSAC members begin an indefinite strike in protest against the appointment of births and deaths registrar. And much later on the program this afternoon, Northern Regional Hospital, formerly known as Tamale Central Hospital, facing imminent shutdown over mounting debt in excess of 3 million Ghana cedis. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Now, persons who walked to some district assemblies and other agencies like the Death and Birth Department or Registry to seek services have had to return to their various destinations without being attended to. This comes as members of Civil and Local Government Staff Association Ghana CLOSAC begin an indefinite strike to demand for the removal of the newly appointed Registrar Samuel Adu. CLOSAC is displeased with President John Mahama's appointee as the Birth and Death Registrar. The group claims that Mr. Adu is a politically exposed person and should not be assuming a role meant for a civil servant. Government strongly disagrees, urging CLOSAC to back down on its strike. Well, CLOSAC, that call has not been heeded as CLOSAC has begun to withdraw its services. My colleague Ibrahim Abubakar has visited some affected agencies and departments to assess the impact of the strike. He joins us live on the line. Ibrahim, just tell us the situation in the Ashanti region.
Yeah, Beatrice, I can tell you that the strike is biting hard. You visit most of the government agencies whose members are CLOSAC members. You realize that they have complied to the strike directive, especially when we went to the birth and death registry in the Ashanti region. In the morning, a number of them came there unaware of any strike notice. So they formed a long queue waiting for the workers to come so that they render their services to them. But 8, 9, no one was coming until 9:30. When one of the staff came, he just came there to pick some items from the office, and he informed them that they are on an indefinite strike, and for that matter, they have to leave. Most of them left disappointed because apparently some of them had appointments at the passport center, so they needed the birth cert to add it to their documents and continue with the process, but they couldn't get it, so they have to leave there disappointed. Controller and Accountant General, same thing, people coming all the way from Konongo, but they had to leave without being attended to. You move to the various assemblies. As I speak to you, I'm at the Asqua Municipal Assembly, and they blocked all the offices. All the people who had come here had to also return to their various destinations without being attended to.
I want you to hold on, Ibrahim, as we hear some of the people you spoke to, and then we'll finalize our conversation.
I came to deliver an official letter to the MCA, but apparently they are on strike, and that closer strike has really affected. So I wasn't able to officially deliver the letter. So I've been turned away. That's basically it. Into the government to actually kill to their plea so that they can resume work, so that I think business could continue.
And you heard some frustrated persons there in the Shanti region, frustrated because of the strike by Clocksack. Ibrahim, just hold on for a second. George Quading is reporting live from Accra. George, what can you report from where you are? All right, Ibrahim, if you can tell us more about what's happening where you are.
So, like I said, it's an idle day for them. These are places that ordinarily are busy places, but today you come, you realize that most of these government agencies have been deserted. You move to the ministries and you only find one or two people loitering about. And some of the agencies have their directors in office, and others are like Controller and Accountant General. They are trying to improvise and see whether they can be able to render part of the service using the national service personnel. So the directors are in there because they are not closer members, but all the staff have complied to the directive order and have not reported to their various workplaces.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim Abubakar, reporting live on that incident. Clocksack declaring a nationwide strike, and he was reporting from the Shanti region. Let's hear what some other people have been saying in the Volta region, and then we'll connect to our correspondent there.
Yesterday I was here to do birth set, the regular one. So today the person called me, like they said the regular one is within 3 to 4 months. So the person said I should come and do inquiry so that they will change it to express for me. And when I got here this morning around 8:30, I checked but no one was in, the door was locked. So I don't know why they are not at work yet.
You do not know they are on strike?
No, please.
You didn't hear of that?
No, please.
Okay, so they are on strike is the reason they are not here. But when you got here this morning, did you call the person who told you to come yesterday?
No, I did not call.
Don't you have the contact?
And they gave me a receipt to, if the distance is ready, I can come for it. But for me, I don't know. I'm just here to ask if they can change it to express for me, because within 3 to 4 months is too long for the person. So the person said I should come and do top up so that they can change it for me.
It is past 9, so we assumed they are at work. But when we got here, the doors were locked. There was nobody inside. We didn't know they were on strike.
And you have some residents of some areas in the Volta region who went to departments and the Clocksack to receive some services but were disappointed. Faisal Abdul Idrisu is our correspondent there. He joins us live on the line. Faisal, so we just had some frustrated individuals who were not attended to there. But what can you tell us about how the strike is taking shape?
Well, so yesterday, the leadership of Clocksack here in the region went round to announce to its members not to show up for work today. I've also been told that several social media platforms, including their common WhatsApp platforms, were used to announce these to the members. So this morning, when I went round for the checks, for instance, the Home Municipal Assembly, some staff who are members of Clocksack were still at post. They indicated that the communique came to them late. However, from tomorrow going, they would ensure absolute compliance with the strike action. There were other places I visited, including the VRCT, the Birth and Death Registry, among others, where some individuals of the public had already come in this morning to access one service or the other, only to be informed that the members of Clocksack are on strike. Some even sat for more than an hour or two before they were told, because there was nobody inside to even inform them that the Clocksack is on strike. And so that's the situation in the region. In the Akati South municipality, for instance, since last 2 weeks, they had already been on strike on some other pertinent issues regarding the safety of their members in Akati South. And so there is another extended situation in the Akati South municipality, for instance. So people who go to the assembly and need to have one service delivered to them by one of any of the agencies or departments manned by staff or members of CLOSAC are not able to have any of those services delivered to them.
Thank you very much, Faisal Abdul Idrisu. He's our Volta Region correspondent. Meanwhile, a section of Civil and Local Government Staff Association Ghana members has distanced itself from the nationwide strike declared by the association's leadership. In a statement, the aggrieved members described the strike as unjustified and irrelevant to their conditions of service. They said that instead of addressing critical concerns such as the implementation of the enhanced salary structure and halting alleged unlawful deductions under the Tier 3 scheme, leadership is prioritizing political matters. However, the aggrieved members argued that the president holds the constitutional authority to make such appointments, citing Section 2 of the Registration of Births and Deaths Act 2020, Act 1027. Still on this, a Labour consultant, Seth Ablosu, has asked the leadership of CLOSAC to call off a strike immediately. Seth Ablosu argues that the reasons for the strike is not justifiable.
The drawing board, and tactically, you don't say a National Executive Council has taken a decision. It's important that whatever decision you take, you get a small membership, a committee to deal with matters arising out of your decision, because it's not at all times that it's expedient to summon the whole National Executive Council to take a decision on a matter, especially when the matter is this bad. The situation it presents is that it puts CLOSAC in very bad light. And going forward, I don't expect that we will have such a situation again. I'm saying that that's at the close of the day yesterday. They hadn't notified the National Labour Commission of any intention to go on strike and the reasons for embarking on sale. So it's regrettably ill-advised and out of order. And the earlier they backtrack, the better. Because they cannot have majority of the membership backing this. No.
And you heard there Seth Ablosu. He's a Labour expert, and we stay on Labour-related issues. And the government has granted a 10% salary increment for public sector workers. Payment of the increment is to start retrospectively from the 1st of January this year. Labour agreed to the 10% after the President, John Mahama, engaged and pleaded with Labour to accept the amount. The National Tripartite Committee, comprising the government, employers and organized labour, are currently meeting over negotiations on Ghana's 2025 minimum wage. The discussions, which began early this month, come amid growing concerns over cost of living increases and labour demands for fair compensation. President Mahama has joined Labour at the negotiation table. Labour Affairs correspondent Daniel Opoku joins us on the line with some updates. Daniel, what have you picked on this meeting beyond what I just talked about?
Right, so good afternoon to you, Beatrice. The meeting just concluded where organized labor and government actually agreed on the percentage. Government finally granted 10% for public base pay or salary increment for public sector workers, those who are paid by controller and those who are found on the single spine salary structure. Now, there were two negotiations that took place. One was on the base and the minimum wage. So both negotiations concluded. Government agreed on 10% for base pay, and the National Tripartite also agreed on 10% for the daily minimum wage. The daily minimum wage last year was around 18 cedis and 15 pesos. This year it has moved to 19 cedis and some 7 cedis per 7 pesos. And really that's what has happened. Labour is not too happy with the 10% granted by government because they think that the percentage clearly is on the low side, and basically they are so much disturbed and disappointed in what the government has granted them.
So let me get clarity. 18 cities moved to 19 cities. Is that what is going to be maintained at this tripartite meeting we talk about?
Right. So in the case of the minimum wage, the 19 cities is exactly what is going to be maintained. So if you are an employer and you have an employee, it means that you should not pay that employee below 19 cities a day. 19 cities a day. You shouldn't pay the employee below that amount. The employee should be able to get beyond either 19 cities or above 19 Ghana cities. And that's really, really big. That's really on a very low side. Because if last year we agreed on 18%, when we put the percentages, we agreed on 18 cities, 15%. So that's around 22%. And this year you're looking at 19 cities, just around 10%. Means that it's really on the low side. So even Labour themselves, the leadership themselves are not even ready to speak to the media because they are disappointed, but they have to accept that. And actually, when we look at the negotiation between organized labor and government on the base fee, President Mahama joined the meeting today. And that really did the magic for a government. Government was able to use the presence of the president to convince organized labor to accept the 10% increment, even though they are disappointed, but they finally have to agree to it.
Any other issue we need to know?
No, the other one has to do with the ongoing strike by clock staff. You know, they are calling for the removal of the head of the Birth and Death Registry. President Mahama gave a directive to the Sector Minister of Labour, Jobs and Employment to ensure that the issues are resolved. So we engage the Sector Minister who has indicated his readiness to engage with clock staff between today and tomorrow to get the issues. So hopefully by close of day tomorrow, we are likely to see clock staff calling off his strike.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Daniel Opoku. He's our Labour Affairs correspondent. Now, Northern Regional Hospital, formerly known as Tamale Central Hospital, is facing imminent shutdown over a mounting debt of some 3 million cedis in overpayment by the National Health Insurance Authority. In March 2018, an audit report conducted by the NHRA revealed that an amount of 4 million plus was wrongly paid to the hospital in duplicate claims of some 15,876 submitted to NHRA for reimbursement. Christopher Mwako is on the line with us with some details. Chris, rather worrying development for the hospital, but what more can you tell us about this developing story?
Yes, so Beatrice, as we speak now, the hospital is in dire need of the intervention of the Ministry of Health as well as the Ghana Health Service, such that they will be able to talk to the Health Insurance Authority for them to see a payment model which they will be able to clear these debts. Because in November, when hospitals were paid by the NHIA, the Tamale Central Hospital and Northern Regional Hospital did not get a penny because everything due them was taken by the Health Insurance Authority. And so the hospital is currently in dire need and is struggling.
What can you tell us about the impact of this?
Yes, Beatrice, I must say that it is really biting hard on clients or patients who go to the hospital to seek medical attention. You remember that somewhere last year we did a story that someone lost their life because there was no oxygen at the hospital at the time of conducting surgery. And
Indeed.
So these are some of the implications of this situation on the hospital. As we speak, if you go to the hospital, it is very difficult for you to get some essential drugs at the hospital if you are on admission or at the OPD level. And so it is gradually reducing the outpatient visits to the hospital, which is affecting the running of the hospital.
And Chris, before you go, beyond what you've told us, what are the hospital authorities telling you?
Yes, hospital authorities have been tight-lipped. They are saying that, yes, it's true that the hospital is facing a dire situation as it stands now, but they have chosen to remain quiet because questions that arise out of this has to do with the fact that where did the monies that were overpaid to the hospital go to? Because people should be seeing the money used for other things at the hospital, but that is not the case. So hospital authorities are unable to speak to the matter because, according to them, all they can say is the Ministry of Health and the Ghana Health Service should intervene so that health insurance will agree on a 5-year payment model for them to be able to pay some 56,000 every month, so that within the 5 months they'll be able to pay this amount.
Thank you so much, Christopher Amwako. He's our Northern Region correspondent. Some 21 minutes past the hour of 12. When we come back, we'll tell you more about a proposal to get parents to pay for their children's fees under the Free Senior High School policy. Don't go away.
Whether it's Bimbilla, Winchi, Akachi, Accra, or Takrady, as long as it's on Ghana's map, we're there. With our network of healthcare service providers across the entire country, wherever you find yourself in Ghana, Nationwide Medical Insurance has got you covered. We are nationwide, literally. Your health is worth protecting. Call us on 0800 222222 or visit www.nationwidemh.com. Nationwide Medical Insurance. Join the healthcare family.
So here on the Midday News on 3FM 92.7, some more here, and some residents of Akwatia have expressed mixed reactions following the conviction and bench warrant for the arrest of the New Patriotic Party's Ernest Yakumi. While some have welcomed the Koforidua High Court's decision, viewing it as a step towards justice, others have raised concerns about the implications of the ruling. And we'll be getting Eastern Region correspondent Yvonne Nekwe very shortly. But let's hear some of the residents who spoke to us earlier.
Madam, I just and as committee, so much it says, court, Nasabra, Nas, court, Sermon, I want to say, on number 4.
I'm gonna for Patrol Miss Marjorie check at where war as same way on the say a court as Emra Nase MP Mr. NX to me when the Brandis wa now won't find say a veteran because say Antoine it will not set a good example for the other MPs to follow. Patrol Miss Marjorie check I can miss me actually.
And it's so here on the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. Stay with us.
Accra, Ghana, Africa, and worldwide. Join us on Inspirational Gospel Mix this and every Sunday, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Get ready!
Well, my favorite scripture is Romans 8:28, and it says, all things work together for the good to them that love the Lord. Kwame, that is absolutely my favorite scripture.
Yes, your Inspirational Gospel Mix, a moment to get inspired with the best of inspirational songs and interviews to get you prepared for the new week on every Sunday, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. with me, your big brother, Kwame Adu, mixing G, mixing gospel. You can't miss it. You are blessed as you listen. 3FM 92.7.
And you're still here on the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. Thank you so much for staying. Now, the Conference of Heads of our sister secondary schools in the country, CHAS, has welcomed suggestions for a review of the free senior high school policy to allow parents who can afford to pay for their children's education. At the opening session of the National Education Forum held in Ho between Tuesday and yesterday, Wednesday, February 19, various stakeholders proposed several reforms to be made to the free SHS program to reduce the financial constraints it has imposed on the government, including a module that will allow parents who can afford to pay for the education of their children to do so. CHAS has strongly supported this position. Let's cross over again to Faisal Abdul Idrisu, who sat through the program for us.
Centralized to the regional level, which we had the OT voter conversation at the whole Technical University auditorium. The participants during the breakout session before they returned, because they were to come and make inputs into the framework, the policy that will be formulated going forward. So when they came back, prominent on the recommendations that they made is the issue regarding free SHS, where they are saying that they agree with the call, and CHAS, for instance, the state secondary schools group actually supported this call and indicated that they are willing to make this proposal as well as a group. In fact, they informed us that they were going to do a presentation on it and also urge government to consider this position by way of allowing parents that can afford it pay for it. I spoke to the vice president of the association. We may have to listen to what he said.
Sorry, we'll have to bring you that later, but that was Faisal Abdul Idrisu, our Volta region correspondent, bringing us updates on the Education Forum, which is ended. My name is Beatrice Adu. Thank you very much for joining us today. Log on to shrinews.com for more news. Have a good afternoon.
Frequency